Welcome to the Pyramids of Giza, one of the most famous icons in the entire planet and the last standing ancient wonder of the world. Now we're in the desert of Egypt, as you may be able to tell. We're just outside of the pyramids at sunrise. This is going to be one of my bucket list destinations that I've always wanted to go to. They sound like the rides from Star Wars. You got it, Josh. So we just got to our viewpoint. We rode these camels for about 20 minutes to get out here to this viewpoint where we're apparently going to be able to see the pyramids once the sun rises. The sun is slowly coming up through the fog and haze over there in the distance. But this is a pretty interesting experience. It's not what I was expecting to do at 5:30 a.m. this morning, but alas, here we are. Let's go see if we can find some pyramids. So now we're just waiting on top of a hill here with the sun, I guess, coming up through the smog over there. The pyramid's just out in the distance over here. We're waiting for the sun to come up, and this is not what I was expecting this morning. I wasn't expecting a camel ride, but it is kind of cool that we're doing this. I thought we were gonna be out by the pyramids, like right next to them, riding a camel, which we might later. It's gonna be an expensive day apparently. But I guess there's some miscommunication as to what we wanted to do with sunrise, camels, and all that. Oh well, you just kind of gotta go with it. I have no idea how much this is gonna cost.
Cody, tell us the theories of this pyramid that you...
There's a drawing, a hieroglyph, that looks like the design for the original light bulb.
Dude.
So it's pretty interesting.
Imagine, though.
Yeah, so they think that electricity was built. And it's also interesting because there's places where torches would be put in all other rooms in that tomb, except for where that hieroglyph was. So they think they had light bulbs where that hieroglyph was, because how would you see this hieroglyph in this dark corner if you didn't have a torch? It's kind of interesting.
No one knows.
Well guys, you win some, you lose some. Today, looks like it's gonna be an L. Pyramids are out there where the thick fog is. And hey, you can actually see 3 guys on horses riding through the mist. It's kind of cool, but apparently it was a fail for us today. The sun came up and it's about the only thing you can see out here in the middle of nowhere. So I think we're gonna take our camels back and head to the pyramids now. We're going through the desert now. Just about 6:30 a.m. Sun's up. You know what that means? It's pyramid time. So we just got into the Great Pyramids of Giza. We paid about $37 to get in here. This morning, the camel ride, which ultimately saw nothing, was about $40 each. So it was kind of an expensive morning, but you're gonna pay a lot when you come to one of the ancient wonders of the world. It seems like tourism has picked up again. There are a lot of tourists here again, a lot of buses, and we got a guide for the day, so he's gonna be showing us around, which is pretty sweet. Now, unfortunately, coming into the Pyramids of Giza, you're not going to be able to film with a big camera like we always do, so I'm filming a lot of this on my phone today. All right, so we just made it into the pyramid. We are in the Great Pyramid, and this is pretty crazy. With our inclusive ticket, we get to walk through here and actually go up inside. It's about to get a lot more cramped though. Hold on. Yo, Michael, what's up?
Yo, bro.
It's a little tight here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. It's not meant for tall people like me. I don't know if it was meant for anyone over the height of 3 feet tall. But at least there's lights in here now. Originally, there weren't any lights when it was first made, as you could assume. You're now inside the tomb of the Great Pyramid, but actually Egyptologists believe that this is not actually a tomb. For many years they thought this was a tomb that was raided by looters and thieves. But one thing that's interesting about this tomb, as opposed to all the other tombs, is there's no hieroglyphs written on the walls. And the hieroglyphs were super important because they were actually the spells and instructions to guide the pharaoh through the underworld once they died into the afterlife to become a god. You can see that there's no hieroglyphs written on any of the walls here. It's just a completely empty room, except for this one stone that looks like it could have held a pharaoh. But just being here inside the Great Pyramid is something that I've wanted to do for such a long time. There's not a whole lot in here, but saying you've been in the center of the Great Pyramid is something that's pretty cool and you can check off your bucket list. It's a little bit of an extra fee to come in here. You're not allowed to bring cameras or anything like that. You can bring just your phone, but to say you've been in a pyramid is pretty cool. So it may be hard to believe, but this pyramid is made up over 2.6 million blocks, ranging from 1 to 70 tons. Averaging about 2.5 tons, which is, well, it's a shit ton. But this it's massive. This is the biggest one. The second biggest one is actually even more blocks, but the blocks are smaller. These ones are massive. I can't imagine anyone even picking up these. Like, I can't even imagine 10 or 15 or even 20 people picking this up. And so it's hard to believe that this was built by people, 4,500 years ago. So I think that's why there's so many conspiracies and so many different kind of like theories around how the pyramids were built. The Great Pyramid was created for King Khufu, and it is standing over 480 feet tall. The other two are for Khafre and Menkaure. Now, many people think that it's just the 3 pyramids here, but there's actually 6 smaller ones in the back dedicated to the queens. So now we've come over to the 3rd pyramid. This is the smallest one, called the Pyramid of Menkaure. It was actually supposedly smaller when it was first built, and then when he died, his son made it a little bit bigger to kind of fit the size and stature of all these pyramids here. So when we think about ancient Egypt, the timeline of that spans a couple thousand years. But these pyramids behind me, they only span about 75 years from the time the first one was built to the time the third one was built. So right behind me, there's actually a funeral temple right next to the pyramid, and there's actually one next to all of them. It's so that people can come and give offering and gifts to the king once he's passed. And a lot of people think that this place is out in the desert, in the middle of the desert. And while it does look like desert this way, it's actually pretty close to the valley so that the people could come and visit the king after he's died. And essentially it's just a giant tombstone. Pretty much the kings just wanted to be remembered afterwards. And so that's why it's built really close to the city. So we've come out to the viewpoint now, and this is where you can see all 3 pyramids. You can actually see more. You can see one of the smaller ones that we were just at right here. And this is kind of cool because you can see all of them from here, but this is where also all of the camels are. You can see a lot of people taking pictures of the camels. It seems like this is where the spot is to take pictures, and so everyone's here taking pictures with the camel. And we've made it to the Sphinx right here. You can see the pyramids all the way back here. This Sphinx is actually standing in front of the 2nd pyramid, the Pyramid of Khafre right here. And so when you look directly down, as we just did, you can see this pyramid, or the Sphinx right in front of the pyramid, which is pretty cool. So I hope you enjoy the Egypt videos. I'm super excited to have these come out. This is a place I've wanted to come for a very long time. I can see clearly now, the sun is up. I can see all the trash in my way. So we're walking up the tube now. Don't go so close.